Everyone believes Che died a martyr. They're wrong. His end was far more brutal. The jungle canopy in Bolivia offered no sanctuary, only an emerald labyrinth where shadows held both promise and peril. For Ernesto Che Guevara, the dream of a continent-wide revolution had devolved into a desperate game of hide-and-seek, played out against the backdrop of an unforgiving landscape and the relentless pursuit of a global superpower. By 1967, the iconic revolutionary, once a titan of the Cuban uprising, was a hunted man. His audacious, almost suicidal gambit to ignite a new front of Marxist insurgency in Bolivia had faltered. The local peasantry, whom he expected to rally, remained largely indifferent, even hostile to his foreign ideals. His small guerrilla column, dwindling in numbers, ravaged by disease and hunger, was a shadow of the formidable force that had swept through Cuba. The revolutionary fire, once so bright, was now a flickering ember, barely visible in the oppressive Bolivian wilderness. Their every move was tracked, every whisper potentially betrayed. The United States, deeply invested in preventing another Cuba, had dispatched a specialized team of CIA advisors and Green Berets. Their mission: to train and equip the Bolivian army, transforming it into an effective counterinsurgency force capable of eliminating Che and his rebels. These American advisors, notably Felix Rodriguez, a Cuban exile who harbored a deep personal animosity towards Castro and his allies, played a crucial role. Rodriguez, a CIA operative fluent in Spanish, was a master of intelligence gathering and counter-guerrilla tactics. He understood the terrain, the culture, and the psychology of the fight. His presence was a constant, unseen pressure, tightening the noose around Che's neck. He wasn't just a trainer, he was a hunter, meticulously orchestrating the chase. The turning point came on October 7, 1967. A local informant, lured by a reward, betrayed the guerrillas' position near the Euro ravine. The Bolivian army, guided by precise intelligence, moved swiftly to encircle them. The following day, October 8th, the final engagement unfolded. Che, weak from asthma and hunger, his boots worn to shreds, was leading a small detachment. They were ambushed. The firefight was brief but brutal, echoing through the quiet valley. Che's rifle was reportedly damaged, rendering him unable to return fire effectively. Wounded in the leg, he was captured. The man who had once stood toe-to-toe with Batista's regime, who had lectured the United Nations, was now a disheveled, defeated figure. He was taken to a small, remote schoolhouse in La Higuera. The room, simple and stark, became his final cell. The world, unaware of the dramatic events unfolding, continued its routine, oblivious to the imminent end of a revolutionary icon. News of Che's capture quickly reached the highest echelons of the Bolivian government and the CIA. The decision of what to do with him was fraught with geopolitical implications. A public trial, it was feared, would turn him into a martyr, a rallying cry for revolutionaries across Latin America. It was decided Che Guevara would be executed. The order came directly from Bolivian President René Barrientos, reportedly with the tacit approval of the American government, though this has always been a point of contention and denial. Felix Rodriguez, the CIA operative who had tracked him, was present at La Higuera. He spoke with Che, extracting what intelligence he could before receiving the definitive order for execution. It was a moment laden with historical weight, a quiet culmination of a long, bitter struggle. On October 9, 1967, at approximately 1:10 p.m., Sergeant Mario Terán, chosen by lot, entered the schoolhouse. Che, reportedly defiant to the end, uttered his final words, "I know you've come to kill me. Shoot, coward, you are only going to kill a man." 9 bullets tore through his body. The execution was swift, brutal, and clandestine. The world wouldn't know the full truth for days, sparking initial confusion and disbelief. The myth of Che Guevara was about to begin its powerful, enduring ascent. To prevent his body from becoming a shrine, his hands were severed for fingerprint identification, and his body was disposed of in an unmarked grave near Vallegrande. The Bolivian government initially claimed he died in combat, a narrative quickly unraveled by photographic evidence. The photographs of his lifeless body, particularly one resembling a Christ-like figure, spread globally. This image, stark and powerful, transformed him from a defeated guerrilla into a potent symbol of rebellion and resistance, ironically fulfilling the very fear the execution aimed to prevent. His legacy is complex and fiercely debated. For many, he remains an inspirational figure, a selfless revolutionary who fought for the oppressed. His image adorns countless T-shirts, posters, and murals, a global icon of anti-establishment sentiment. Yet for others, particularly those who suffered under the Cuban Revolution and his brutal methods, he is a divisive figure, a ruthless ideologue responsible for countless deaths and human rights abuses. His critics point to his role in summary executions and his unwavering belief in armed struggle. The hunt for Che Guevara was more than a military operation. It was a clash of ideologies, a microcosm of the Cold War. His capture and execution marked the symbolic end of a certain kind of romantic, continent-spanning guerrilla warfare. In 1997, Che's remains, along with those of several of his comrades, were exhumed and returned to Cuba, where they were interred with full military honors. His final resting place became a national monument, cementing his place in Cuban history and lore. The story of Che Guevara's capture and execution is a stark reminder that even the most formidable figures, driven by powerful ideals, are ultimately vulnerable to the relentless tide of history and the calculated actions of determined adversaries. His death, far from silencing his message, amplified it, transforming him into an eternal symbol. The hunt ended in a remote Bolivian schoolhouse, but the legend it created continues to resonate, forever etched into the annals of revolutionary history. Next, we unravel the secret history of Operation